Why do you build me up? Buttercup, baby, just to let me down and mess me around, and the worst of all.
What is going on, guys? I am back with another review of the day at an amusement park, and this time I'll be discussing August 9th, 2020, which was this past Sunday at Dorney Park. Funny thing is, EB and I were there exactly 1 year before this visit, and exactly 6 years before this visit, which is crazy to think about, you guys. And so, anyways, let's just get on with this review of the day. So, when EB and I first got to the park, which was at opening exactly, which was absolutely lit. Like, oh my god, you guys, words cannot describe how happy I am because we got there at opening on Sunday. Oh my gosh, I totally recommend it. And so, anyways, when we first got to the park, we went to the temperature screenings, right? And while we were waiting in line to go through security, an employee greeted us all, and then he was like to me, "I like your Hydra shirt," because if you couldn't tell by several points of the vlog, I was wearing my Hydra shirt that day, and so the employee complimented on it, and I was like, "Thank you," and he was like, "Are you ready to have some fun?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," and then he was like, "Yeah," and he was clapping. And so, anyways, after that moment, we headed through security and then entered the park. And the first thing we did after we entered the park was head straight for Talon, because that's what we were talking about all this time, is riding Talon at opening. And plus, I still needed to experience a morning front row ride on Talon, and I did, and it was absolutely lit. And for one, we actually got on the front row of Talon once again, and two, I once again rode Talon barefoot, and number three, we had a Zen ride on Talon, which was absolutely lit. And so, anyways, after that really good ride on Talon, we headed to Wave Swinger, which is always a good ride on that. And then we headed to Thunder Canyon since it was getting hotter after Wave Swinger, and EB and I really needed that cool off. And it was a really good morning ride on Thunder Canyon in general. And so, anyways, after we got off of Thunder Canyon, we headed to Hydra, where we got the front row on Hydra once again. And this time, I actually rode it barefoot. And that is right, ladies and gentlemen. I rode Hydra in the front row barefoot, and it was amazing. Like, I can't even express how amazing it is. And so, anyways, after we rode Hydra, we headed to Chicken Shack, where I got the shrimp basket, and, you know, it's always a good meal at Chicken Shack. And so, anyways, after we ate at Chicken Shack, we headed for Enterprise since we had missed out on it 2 days before we came because of the rain. And so, anyways, after we rode Enterprise, we headed to Music Express, where Anthony from Ride the Thrills was the only ride up there, and it was crazy. And he knew how to, make operations decent. And plus, he operated the ride for us, which is absolutely lit, you guys. So shout out goes to Anthony for those awesome skills. And so, anyways, after we rode Music Express, we headed to Apollo, and that's always a really good ride in on Apollo. And so, anyways, after Apollo, we headed for Dominator Green, where I once again rode it barefoot, and it's always a fun time for me riding Dominator Green barefoot. And after Dominator Green, I was gonna change into my shoes and socks at the bench 10 feet away from the whip, so I started sprinting over there, but EB was like, "Gabe," and he was telling me to come to the one by the whip. And so, anyways, after I sat down on that bench and changed into my shoes and socks after Dominator Green, we headed for the whip, actually, and we got a Zen ride on it, which was pretty cool. And so, anyways, after that ride on the whip, we headed for Monster, and it was a really good ride on Monster, and we both feel like Monster has been running really good this season. And so, anyways, after that ride on the Monster, we headed for Cedar Creek Flyers, where we saw that employee from we saw that employee from the visit we had before this visit, where he was like, "You can keep your shoes and socks on." And so, anyways, when we were on Cedar Creek Flyers, I read the name tag carefully, and his name is Joshua. And so, Joshua, if you're watching this, a shout out goes to you for being an awesome employee. And so, anyways, after we rode Cedar Creek Flyers, we headed to Steel Force, which was a really good ride on it. And while we were in the break run, this is interesting, we saw a deer, which was so cool because we had never seen a deer whilst riding a coaster before. And it was amazing too. I was surprised to see a deer running through the forest while in the break run of a roller coaster. And it was a really good ride on Steel Force in general. And when we were pulling in the station, and the ride op was like, "Welcome back, riders. How was that ride?" And I did my full-on Grand Carnival scream right there. And I had the whole entire station laughing, and yeah, even the ride-up was like, "Awesome!" And so, anyways, after that ride on Steel Force, we headed for Revolution, where I once again rode it barefoot, and we saw Joshua again. And so, anyways, we started off on the low side of Revolution, but we got the high side in the end. And so, anyways, after that short ride cycle on Revolution, after that ride on Revolution, which was a short ride cycle, is what I'm trying to say, we headed for Thunderhawk, and that was a really good ride on that. We got the front row on Thunderhawk once again, although we had to wait a little bit. But anyways, me and Evie keep getting lucky riding Thunderhawk in the front row, which is absolutely lit because, as I always say, Thunderhawk is a front seat ride, people. Like, oh my god. It's much smoother in the front row than it is on any other row of Thunderhawk. And so, anyways, after that front row ride on Thunderhawk, we headed for Demon Drop, which was a really good ride-in on that. And after that, after Demon Drop, we headed to Thunder Creek Mountain, which was a really good ride on that too. We did the Log Flume song once again, and that's something Evie and I do every time we go on Thunder Creek Mountain, is sing the Log Flume song, and we're probably going to do that on any other Log Flume. And so, anyways, after we got off of Thunder Creek Mountain, we hit up Dominator Red, where I once again rode it barefoot. And plus, when at the end of the ride, I saw Anthony and Jack both working at Dominator together, which was absolutely crazy, you guys. And we both saw Anthony and Jack working there together. Like, Jack was the ride attendant, and I think Anthony went in the operating booth. And so, anyways, after that ride on Dominator Red, we headed for Sea Dragon, where I have to share a story with you guys. So, when we were in line for Sea Dragon, Let's Get Ready to Rumble started playing, and I started dancing like crazy to it. And I liked dancing to Let's Get Ready to Rumble because Evie was filming me, and plus some guy in line was filming me, and then he started filming Sea Dragon going in the background. And so, anyways, what's another cool thing about this ride on Sea Dragon is we saw Anthony operating this one also. Like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. And so, anyways, after that ride on Sea Dragon, we headed for the Ferris wheel since we didn't get a ride on it last visit because of the rain. And plus, the last time we rode it, which was July 31st, we had a really short ride cycle, and we wanted to make up for that, so we got on the Ferris wheel. And so, anyways, after that ride on the Ferris wheel, we headed for Kaleidoscope since I don't think we got a ride in on that last visit. No, we didn't because of the rain. Making the park close early. And so, anyways, after that ride on Kaleidoscope, we did something that we hadn't done in a long time. We went inside the Rita's on the main midway for me to get a nice cherry Italian ice, and I had a really good cherry Italian ice moment. It really refreshed me. and it was just really good Italian ice in general. It always feels good to have Ritas on a hot day. And so, anyways, after my cherry Italian ice moment, we headed for Dodgem because we didn't ride it this morning since we were the only two people like roaming the upper midway where Talon is at the time. And so anyways, we had a really good ride on Dodgem. We both drove right through the traffic jams. And so anyways, after that really good ride on Dodgem, we headed to Wild Mouse, which was like a really good ride on it. It's always good to get back on the Wild Mouse. And so anyways, after we got off the Wild Mouse, we headed to Burger Barn for dinner. We headed for Tilt-A-Whirl. I'm sorry, guys, if I said Burger Barn. I meant we headed to Tilt-A-Whirl after that ride on the Wild Mouse, and that it wasn't really that good of a ride on the Tilt-A-Whirl, and we didn't really start getting good spins until the end. And so, anyways, after that, I don't know, right on the Tilt-A-Whirl, we're for reals. After the Tilt-A-Whirl, we headed for Burger Barn, and that was a really good meal at Burger Barn. We hadn't had a meal at Burger Barn in a while, and so, anyways, after that meal at Burger Barn, we went to ride Dominator Green again. And then I didn't go earthing on it because of a little incident that happened. I made a mistake, and you see, let me tell you the story about the mistake. So we were standing on 1 and 2 spots. So I thought the operator was still making us sit at the 1 and 2 seats, and then EB reminded me that that we were supposed to sit on 3 and 4, and then he was like kind of going on like I don't know what about it, and so I was paying attention to him. And so anyways, after that ride on Dominator Green, they had us exit through the restricted area because according to Anthony from Ride the Thrills here, he said that the normal Dominator exit was broken at the time, so they had us exit through the restricted area, and we never had exited Dominator that way before, which was new. And so anyways, after Dominator Green, we decided to wait it out for Steel Force, not thinking that we were gonna wait past closing. And I was getting worried about it too, but Evie didn't think that. He thought that we would get on before the park closed. But no, like, Steel Force had slow operations that evening. Like, they were only loading one train, the blue train, and they weren't even loading the black train. And operations in general at Steel Force were just not good. And so anyways, that left a bad end to our visit at Dorney. And so anyways, that concludes this review of this past Sunday, which was August 9th, 2020 at Dorney Park. Reply to me your thoughts on this video, and make sure to stay tuned for more coming to Coaster Plus Music 19, and I will see you in the next.